What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to The Nerdy Narrative, a channel where I share about all of the things that I've been reading. This is Friday, which means it is my weekly reading wrap-up where I talk about all of the things that I've finished reading, what I'm currently working on, and what I plan to read next. For those of you who have been around the channel for a while, prepare yourselves. If you're not sitting down, sit down before I say this. I don't want to shock you too much. I didn't read a whole lot this week. And what I did read, I did not like very much. I know that's shocking. That is so rare for me, so let's talk about what happened. We'll start off with the books that I finished. I did finish listening to the audiobook of Light of the Jedi. That is part of the Star Wars High Republic series. My husband and I are buddy reading this series together. We're listening to the chronological order of the canon books that's put out by Penguin Random House. The books are listed chronologically, so this is the second book we've listened to, but it was actually the first book published. It's written by Charles Soule and narrated by Mark Thompson, who of course did a phenomenal job. The book started out great. I really enjoyed the beginning. Where I ran into trouble with it is it went on too long. There was something happening and the author went through about 40 different people around the galaxy that experienced seeing some part of this happening. I got bored with it really quick because it took up about the first third of the book. The middle section did pick up a little bit, but the plot just really wasn't getting anywhere fast. The final third of the book, again, just took too long getting to the point. I did like where it ended and what it opened up for going forward. My personal opinion is the author just spent too much time on things that didn't matter. I'll be curious to find out what Chris thinks. We will be filming a review together on that book, so be looking for that one soon. I did read DeathNote Volume 7. I really enjoyed it. I believe this was the one that ended the first arc of the series. With what happened, things have to change. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in Volume 8 because we did have an introduction of a couple of new characters, so I'll be reading that one hopefully soon to see what's going to happen with the storyline. This is the point where things start going downhill. So those are the two books that I finished. I DNF'd Redwood and Wildfire by Andrea Hairston. I have no idea what the plot is for this book. I DNF'd this one roughly around the 46% mark. What the book description says on the inside flap of this cover had not even happened yet. I did not connect with any of the characters, and I believe the reason for that is the time period this takes place in is the late 1800s, early 1900s. The author found a way to make mention of, in some form or fashion, every single problematic issue that happened during that time period. There was a lot being thrown in. Nothing was being developed enough to form a cohesive, bigger picture. When I'm reaching the halfway point of a book, I'm expecting to either really be invested into a character or the plot. And then to just keep piling on here, there are a lot of things the author did or used or terminology used that made me extremely uncomfortable and cringy. I do have her other novel here on the shelves, Master of Poisons. My friend Dia from the channel Novel Ideas said she read it. It was a lot different structure and she enjoyed it. So I'm going to try that one. I'm not going to give up on this author just because I didn't like this particular book, but unfortunately this one just didn't work for me. My reading woes do not stop there. I've got another shocker for you. I have not officially DNF this one yet, but I am reading it extremely slowly. And when I say slowly, I mean a chapter or half a chapter a day. I am in what I would call a slog. Some of my friends are calling it a slow burn. This is not a slow burn. Salem's Lot is a slow burn. That's a great book that I love. This is a slog. It's not enjoyable to get through. The first third of the book is slice of life. There are some character interactions and relationships that are just amazing. They're wonderful. I love that. The middle third of the book is where we get into the portal fantasy of this world, and I've heard it described by other friends and reviewers as King's love letter to Grimm's fairy tales, and my opinion is King just doesn't have an imagination when it comes to writing fantasy, and he used Grimm's fairy tale to write this middle section. I'm not impressed, and I had a feeling when he described a castle that he sees, He did it in the same way that he did it in the Dark Tower series, and I'm going, bro, can you not think of any other fantastical castle but the one you're always comparing them to when they show up in your stories? I'm not impressed. I'm buddy reading this one with my best friend, Victoria. She is having a much better time with this one so far. She's a little bit ahead of me, but she's not read The Dark Tower. So I wonder if she had that as a measuring tool, would she still like this one as much? It's anybody's guess if I'm going to finish this one or not. All I know is I am going to start a new book today because I have no interest in sitting down for hours to read in this book. I did have one light at the end of the tunnel for the mediocre reading week I was having, and that is my reread of Harry Potter: A Sorcerer's Stone. I am reading for the first time in the illustrated edition, and there is no other way to read this story in my opinion. The illustrations are everything. I remember every time I've ever read or reread this series, the first 3 books felt very elementary to me because they were written for kids, but that's to be expected. They started out as children's book and they grew up and matured with each installation of the series. So I expected once I started rereading this to have those same feelings, but the illustration changes everything. Jim Kay is an amazing artist and he just does something magical with his illustrations paired with the story. Those combined with the nostalgia of being back in a story that you love from when you were little is just something I cannot put into words. So having A Sorcerer's Stone as a comfort read this week has been a lifesaver. Because I was so disappointed with Redwood and Wildfire and Fairy Tale, I got back into Nightmares and Dreamscapes, the short story collection by Stephen King that I'm working on. I actually got my hands on the audiobook from my library, and I'm so glad that I did. The story that was up next is called Dedication, but I don't believe I would have enjoyed it nearly as much if not for the narrator, Lindsay Krause. I was fooled into thinking Lindsay was actually a Southerner until she pronounced Biloxi wrong. That is a dead giveaway. Anytime you hear somebody say Biloxi instead of Biloxi, they're a fake. She just did a wonderful job capturing the essence of the character that was telling the story. I really enjoyed it. It's what I would call a folk horror. I'm a reader who really enjoys when an author incorporates folklore into a story. To me, it just adds a level of mystery and suspense to it. So I really enjoyed Dedication. I did start the next story. I'm almost done with it, called The Moving Finger. And while it does have a bit of a disturbing element to it, it's more hilarious than anything else. I've just been cracking up listening to that one, so I hope to finish that one later this afternoon. So that takes care of everything I read or tried to read this week. I'm going to try and turn things around by starting One Foot in the Fade by Luke Arnold. I've been buddy reading this series with my friend Gail, and we are just about to pop with curiosity over what's going to happen in this installation. What is Fetch Phillips going to find himself in the middle of this time? And in addition to One Foot in the Fade, I will be getting into The Maid by Nita Prose. This is the Wine and Crime Book Club pick of the month. I can't wait to see how this one treats me. Going into this one, I had several friends who loved it, a bunch who DNF'd it, and several who didn't like it. And it's been fun watching people participating in the book club, seeing what they all think of it. So we're gonna find out what I think. I'm hoping I'm gonna love it. That will be a wrap on all of the things that I read or tried to read, still working on what I plan to read next. Thank you all so much for being here, for watching and supporting the channel. A huge shout out and thank you to the patrons of the Nerdy Narrative channel. This channel would not be what it is without you, so thank you so much. If you're still here and you like the video, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button so I know you enjoyed it. And if you would like to see more of what this channel has to offer, consider hitting that subscribe button as well. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll catch you in the next one.